Hi, this is Charlie. We just finished the outside build on this album, and before I go any farther, this can be done also as an 8x8. I have a preference with working with 12x12s because I love the larger images. So if you want to do this album as an 8x8 instead of a 10x10, absolutely, you're just going to have to adjust your measurements accordingly, but everything else you should be able to do would be the same. You're going to probably need to decrease your circles here a little bit because this is coming in at 8x8. So I don't know how big this image is in the 8x8, so please make your own adjustments if that's what you want to do. So now we're going to work on this. I hope you put these two pockets in because that's going to be something we'll be dealing with when we work on page 1 here shortly. So here we have page 2, or excuse me, the inside left panel. I'm confusing myself. And I want to kind of get to the main piece here, down here. This measures, this was the piece I chose, the one with the turtle on it, and down here it says, "Let the sea set you free." This measures 9 3/4 by 9 3/4, so it fits the inside of that left panel. Now I carefully cut the turtle out, and I backed him on black cardstock because instead of building a pocket here for you to stuff things in, I'm going to use him as a tuck. So what I did to facilitate it is I came in here and I matched, well, I didn't match, I glued on a piece of paper. I glued the edge, the perimeter, and then I glued the inside edge of the turtle because it's essential that this stays down so that when you're using it as a tuck, that it's not catching anything. So when I attach this, I'm only going to attach this top part here. That way you can come in here as a tuck this way, or you can come up under here as a tuck. So the only thing that needs to be really taped back down or glued back down is roughly this area here. And then it still leaves you plenty of room to put in photos. Okay, so go ahead, get your paper out. You don't have to do this. If you want to come over here and build a pocket or build a pocket opposite of him, that's entirely your choice. You have plenty of scraps. There's this piece that we're going to have left over. You have plenty of scraps that you can actually do a pocket. You can actually do a corner pocket, or you don't have to do anything. You just let the turtle float free on his paper. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and get some tape on this. I want him sturdy. I want him down on there. And I'm going to come right over the top of this ridge and then down. And that's all I'm going to do. Just trying something new. Would like to try to not have my albums repeat themselves. I am a fussy cutter. I do love cutting out things. I love playing with images. And I like to make them work in the album, that they have some kind of function, whether it's allowing for better visibility, pulling something up off the page. And with this black background, it does look like he's actually independent of the paper somewhat. And now that that's in there, you can see we have a beautiful tuck. You can come in either way. And by putting paper on the back, when you lift this, you're seeing paper. I did it that way because once you put it in the album, what I didn't want you to see was the black cardstock that this is going to mount onto. So putting a piece of paper back here made more sense. Okay, so I've already pretty much designed everything. And I've got it laid out, and I want to start giving you some of the measurements. And I want you to find in your paper collection, whether it's an 8x8 or a 12x12, you're going to have, I want you to cut this. You're going to want both of them cut out. So cut them out, save them, because we're going to be using them right away on this signature. Now, I have 2 sets of those, so I will probably be using them a little bit later on. So as we start to cut through the paper, please keep that in mind. You might want to set this one aside. It does have a very nice background, but I want to use these. All right, so your right side panel, and I am playing with the outside. This was in my scraps, and I just couldn't stand to see it go to waste. And I'd already cut this piece. I didn't want to cut it really any shorter because it's going to come and tuck underneath this. So I took this piece, and it says, meet me where the sky touches the sea. I cut this piece, but you can see it's cut short. So go back into your scraps, find anything that you want. We're going to do a little bit of a cut and paste. It's not uncommon, and it will add a little bit of character. So I can either go with that side, or I can go with this side. And my preference is the other side because there's more color to it. So I can go this way, or I can go this way. So to my eye, which is really kind of funny because I'm not a yellow fan, I like this better. It seems to help blend things better, okay? So you're gonna be doing a little bit of cut and paste. This is going to measure at 5.5 inches. You're going to score it at 1/2, and then you're going to score it at 5/8 of an inch. Now I am rounding my corners. You do not have to. So that is going to be that build. This is the outside. Put it back where it's supposed to be. And then over here, the measurements for your left side is going to be at 6.5, scoring it at 1/2, and scoring it at 5/8 of an inch. Now I'm going to go ahead and, I tried to pick the turtle up. I'm going to go ahead and put these on so that I can start working with the page. And I'm going to come right up to that first score mark. Make sure everything is level. And then I want to push back against that 5/8 score line because I want to reinforce that gusset to do what I want it to do, and that's to be flat and stand up straight. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put in my right side. And then I'm going to push back on this panel. Okay, now in cutting this, I did not take into consideration you're going to be short here. This magnet is not going to fit on this, so this magnet's going to have to place on the back side. So I'm going to take it off. I've already taped it in on the side, on the left side, and I'm going to let it find its mate, and then I'm going to just tape it in place. It happens sometimes, but it's an easy fix, so it's not anything to get all stressed over. Beautiful. It works. Ta-da! Okay, so now let's finish with the left side because you've got a little bit more cutting to do over there. You are going to have a piece in your paper that has this image, and it is literally this size. It's one of those panels where you've got 3 cards across the bottom, and then this is the upper 2/3 of the sheet. I am have fussy cut out the helmet because I want to add some depth to this. If you don't like fussy cutting, you don't have to do it. There is no rules to that. It's just what I've chosen to do. Now I want to get some contrast going here. Now this is where these are going to come into play. This is short, but I don't want to create a short flap. So you're going to center this as best as possible, and then you're going to come in over it and put this on the bottom, and you're going to put them in on the top, which really adds some nice contrast. And then if you have chosen to fussy cut this out, mount it on pop-ups. And then you've got some nice color going there, and you've got an element that's lifted up off the page. And then I also cut this out, you, me, and the sea, and I'm going to use that as a sentiment right up here. Then you get the lighthouse in the background. So this is what I'm going to do with the outside of this page. So I'm going to go ahead and get this put together. So I'm going to glue. You see how I accessed it? I very carefully came in here on this line and I cut in there, and then I trimmed it out, but then I had to tape it back together again. Otherwise, I'm using a craft knife, and quite honestly, I've got arthritis brewing in all my knuckles, so trying to use a craft knife sometimes gets to be a little bit of a challenge. So I snuck in with scissors. All right, now the challenge is to center this as best as possible. Doesn't have to be an exact science because we're going to use, this is going to be the item that's going to level the playing field, if you will. Glue in and around there. Okay. Now I'm going to glue these on. I will tell you that I'm going to try to do some different things to this album that I haven't done before. So it's going to be nice and new. We as designers have a tendency to get stuck in our own rut. And I end up at 3 a.m. almost every morning now. I wake up with an aha. Why don't I try this? And then I'll come out to my craft room and I'll be out here for hours. I've got a lot of leftover paper that I don't like, so I'm using it as my demos. I cut into them and create what I have in my head, and once I figured out that it can work, then I go for it. Okay, you, me, and the sea is here. And then get the back of these off. All right. And then I'm just going to set him right back where he was. Ta-da! All right, so he's done. Now the inside, same thing. You've got a sheet that looks just like this. Again, across the bottom are some cards. And this is the upper 2/3. Well, we're going to do the same thing here that we did on the front of it, and we're using this other set to make up the difference. All right, nothing special here. I bet you're happy that I didn't have you cut that out. Now I am going to tape this because I have a magnet here on this page. Okay, just a little dab in the center to help place it. And keep it down on the black cardstock so it's not popping around. Okay, so let me see where I'm at here. I want to try and eyeball this to be same distance, top and bottom, and I think I need to pull it down just a little bit. Now I'm going to have to tape these other little pieces on, because if I ever have to take this apart, I can't have part of it glued and then part of it taped. So if you will bear with me, I'm going to go through this as quickly as I can, as I know this, whoops, this is a time eater on the videos. Okay. It didn't come all the way off. Now I'm just going to line it up right here with this edge. I'm going to come down to where I want to see my black edge, and I just dropped it too low on this side, so let's perform a little bit of surgery here. And I want to pick this up and then put it back down. And if this is your first video with me, I will provide you the measurements and the score of the cardstock, but I do not provide measurements for the pattern paper. Everyone has their own look as to what they want to see. I will use the term cut to fit throughout. So you will cut your paper and you will fit it to what you prefer to see as far as for a border. And I was delighted to have a lady come on and say that she agrees with me. Depending upon the cardstock she uses and the paper she's using, she might want a 1/4 inch band around, but then she'll drop to less than 1/8, which is what I prefer to do. It just depends upon what she's playing with. So I know it's not an an unfair thing, I should say, for me not to provide those measurements. Everybody has their own eye. Tape's coming off there. And these videos are free, they're instructional. There's not a there's nothing in this that you can't change. It is your album. So if you don't like something that a particular designer's done, change it. Beautiful. All right, so that's done. I like that. So let's go over here. And I'm going to put this in first. I'm going to glue it down. Because I'm going to layer over the top of this. And doing it this way, I'm not wasting this piece, and I'm not cutting a piece shorter than I want it to be. And I get to use some scraps. All right, now we'll come in here, glue this down. And then all I'm going to focus on is that I'm lining it up top to bottom on the piece I've just put, and that I get the black trim edge that I want to see. And what's really kind of cool is, unless you're really looking at this, you don't really know that I've piecemealed this in, other than I've blackened this edge. So it's for someone who's just at a glance, they're not going to really see that. But it doesn't really matter to me. Because at the end of the day, they may be putting a picture that's going to cover that up anyway. Now, on my left hand, I want to make sure that I'm not putting this on the gusset or the score mark that's there. This was a separate piece that I ended up having to cut. It's this piece. I'll play with this later on, but this bottom yellow piece is in my scraps, but this was a 12 by 12. This is what that sheet was, and on the reverse side was the big airship. Now in your, I need to glue that maybe a little bit to keep it from coming undone. In your cut-aparts, you find a tag, any tag. Now, I punched and put a grommet through there. You don't have to do that. This particular tag does not have a hole. I punched it. I put on a little piece of black ribbon, again, just to give another look, another form of texture. And I'm going to tape it in with just a little bit down here on the left corner. And it's going to become a tuck. And what's really cool is this matches this. Okay. There we go. And now we'll put tape on the back side. We'll get it mounted in the album. Whoops. Kind of excited about the next signature. I've already got it designed. It was my 3 a.m. inspiration. And I'm quite sure when we get building it, you're going to go, oh my gosh, I've seen that done before. But it's not something I've done before. So I'm kind of excited about it. Okay, let's get these peeled off. Grab the album. I'm just going to come in here and it's going to sit nice and square. Too low. I gotta turn it this way. I can't see the top. Keeps moving. All right. Lots of big space here for big photos. And we have a wonderful tuck. Just something unique and different. You have a tuck over here. This would be great for journaling here. And then you can put a photo in up over here. And you could put a photo here if you choose. But that right there is the completion of the inside left panel. And we'll move on to the right side panel. I had you build 2 long pockets, putting them in the, bringing them here in the middle. I want you to cut from your scraps, can be anything, a 1/2 inch wide by, what did this measure out to be? By 9.5 inches. And I want you to tape or glue it down right up next to the seam and over where these two are joined. And I will see you there on that page. And thanks for watching.